Hi, I'm Sophie and welcome to my world. Today I have an amazing paper craft for you. It'll get you rockin' because it is a Rockin Robin. I'm going to teach you how to make it right now. For this project, you will need two templates. A CD makes a perfect template, and also a roll of tape makes another good template. So you need a template that is about 4.5 inches round and a template that is about 2 inches round. Colored paper, scissors, ruler, markers, crayon or colored pencils, a pencil, eraser, and a glue stick. So for your first step, decide what color paper you want for the body and what color paper you want for the head. As you can see here in this one, I've got red for the body and brown for the head. I'm going to be making a bluebird right now, and I think what I'd like to do is use the darker blue for the body and the light blue for the head. So that's important to decide. Take the piece that you're going to use for your body and fold that in half. So I've got this portrait ways, and I take one edge and I fold it up and over to the other edge and crease right there. Then I'm going to take my CD and I'm going to use this as my template to use my pencil to draw a circle around the outside. Now the reason I folded my paper in half is so that when I cut this out, I'm going to end up with 2 circles. So that's important. So now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut my circle out. So I end up with 2 circles. Now the next circle that I want to do is I want to just do one head. So I can do this in the corner, and I found that a roll of tape, like a roll of washi tape or just a roll of regular standard tape, usually works for the right size. And I'm going to cut this one out. So now I have 3 circles total, and we're ready to move on to the next step. So for the next step, I'm going to place my 2 circles together, make sure that they're nice and straight on top of each other. I'm going to take my ruler, and from the center of the top, so at the middle of the top, to the highest part where it arches, I'm just going to measure down 1.5 inches. So that's the number 1, and then that larger line, the longer line that is between the 1 and the 2, right in the middle. Just mark that with a little mark of your pencil. And then what I want you to do is, holding these 2 together, I want you to put your finger on that little mark there and fold both pieces over so that you get like almost looks like a little purse now. See that? So it looks like a little purse. So take the purse, and again, you want to keep these 2 together. And take your little purse, open up that flap, and now using your scissors, what I want you to do is right in the middle, make a cut that goes from the outer edge of the circle all the way up to that fold mark. Here's the most important part about it. You want to make sure you're cutting from the outside and cutting through both pieces, okay? And then what I want you to do is just make some more little snips that are about 1/2 inch. And just make little snips all the way to the end. And as you can see, I kind of fanned them out just a little bit. I'll show you what I mean again right here. So I'm going to start to fan them out just a little bit so that they kind of take on a little bit of a pie wedge shape, as opposed to being just straight up and down. So you can see they've made like a little fringy here. Okay, so the fringy is very important. And when you take it apart, it looks kind of like two eyelashes, 2 sets of eyelashes. Now this next step is a little tiny bit tricky, and I just want you to be very careful with it. What you're going to do is take your scissors and place the scissors against the paper, and then put your finger on the other side of the paper, and then just pull, lightly pull. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull out these little guys and give them a little bit of a curve. And that's going to give them a little bit of a feather look. So see that? Kind of like eyelashes. So let me show you one more time over here. So you hold the paper and then take your scissors and put the scissors on the top part of the paper and put your finger on the other side and just very gently pull to make them curl up just a little bit. And then just fold it down. So now you've got 2 sets of eyelashes, basically. For our next step, we're going to build our little face here. And we are going to need a little tiny piece of yellow paper, and that's going to be for the beak. Now, this piece of paper, what you're going to do is fold it in half. And if you want to use a pencil, you can, to draw a little triangle. So this is the folded part right here. This is the edge of the fold. From one end, just draw a little line. And if you want to, what you could do is use your ruler. Measure the half inch mark, put a little dot, and then from that dot to the opposite corner, you can draw a straight line. And now cut it. And this is going to be your beak. And as you can see, it opens up and you can put it on either side, just like that. Put glue on both sides of the front part of your circle there. And then just take your beak, open it up, place it on either side, and squeeze. Score that down with your finger, just kind of rub it so that it scores itself down there. Okay, and now we're going to make his eye. And so for the eye, I'm going to actually use a little bit of white paper. And again, I'm going to fold this in half, and I'm just going to cut a little circle. And again, by folding it in half, that gave me 2 circles at the same time. Anytime that you fold a paper in half and cut it, you're going to get 2 circles, or 2 whatever shapes you're cutting. Okay, now take a little bit of the glue and put your eye on. And flip it over. Now I'm thinking that my beak, I want to add a bottom part to my beak. This is going to be a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to fold this over like I did before. But this time I'm going to make it a shorter one. And I'm going to put this on the bottom. Like that. And just going to glue that in place. Now the nice thing about this is the purple glue, even though it looks like it's going to leave a smudge when it dries, it'll be nice and clear. Now set, using a marker, an eyeball. Let's set an eyeball right there. And then flip it over and do it right there. For this next step, we're going to make a tail. Now, for the tail, I like to make it 4 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to measure 4 inches down. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to make a little mark. And then I'm going to measure over 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go right up here so that I can find that mark easily. And now if you want to, if you want to make sure that it's perfectly square, which it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be perfectly square, go down a little bit lower, mark a point at 1.5 inches again, and then you can take your ruler, put it on the marks, just line it up on those marks, and then draw a straight line down. And you just draw a straight line down to where that mark is, that 4-inch mark. and then you can cut. So you're going to end up with a rectangle. Now, don't worry if it's not perfect. Nothing in arts and crafts has to be perfect. So now I'm going to make 4 cuts. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to go 1, and I'm cutting about 3 inches down. So I'm leaving a good inch down at the bottom there. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now it looks kind of like a paintbrush. Now, remember what we did with the wings? We're going to do the same thing one at a time with the little feathers of the tail. So take your first little frondy, your first little feather, pull it out, and put your thumb on one side of the paper and your scissors on the other, and gently pull. Then flip it over and do it in the same way, but you're going to go in the other direction. Your feather's going to end up going in the other direction. Flip it over again. See how your feathers keep going in different directions? Flip it over. Do it again. Scissors underneath the paper. Gently pull. Your finger is on one side. Flip it over for the last one. And there you've got all your feathers. And now we're ready to put it all together. For this last step, you're going to need all your pieces. You're going to need your head, you're going to need your tail, and you're going to need your body pieces. So to do this, what you want to do is just line this up and make sure that this works nicely. And then what you're going to do is open it up so that your feathers are facing up. Take your glue stick and glue right across, just a line of glue straight across. Take your tail feathers and line them up so where the tail feather starts, you're going to angle it and place it right at the end where that circle is. So see how it angles down like that? Now, that's all the glue that you want. You do not want to glue this bottom part. Don't glue the bottom part. Now for the head, we're going to do the same thing. Just take your head and place it right there at the end, and then put more glue. And now take your final piece, which is your other wing, and place it on top, and with your fingers rub, 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 and then fluff your feathers down. Now, this is the wiggle woggle part. Open up your birdie, and what you're going to do is let this dry, but then open up your birdie, giving it a little bit of a crease. Do the same thing on the other side. Open it up, give it a little bit of crease underneath that glue line. There we go. And then when you open it up, it'll wibble wobble. And there you have it, your very own Rockin Robin. I think these are super, super fun. For more paper crafts, check me out at sophie-world.com.